In this video, we will set up traffic shaping or rate limiting on a per IP address basis. Traffic shaping is the capability where we can rate limit a user's session through the firewall itself. Now, before we do that, we need to enable the traffic shaping feature. Okay, and that's located here towards the bottom, here under Show More. And oh, there it is. Let's go ahead and enable it, turn it on, and let's apply our changes. Right now, any user accessing the internet is not restricted to a certain amount of bandwidth. So for example, when we do a speed test, okay, let's go ahead and start this speed test. And wait until the download and upload speeds complete. Okay, and at least here you can see that we're getting over 25 megabits per second for the download and about 3 megabits for the upload. So we're going to change that behavior. And we will restrict what the maximum bandwidth should be for our users. So let's go to our policy page. And here, let's edit our outbound internet policy. Okay. So when we move towards the bottom here, we will see a new section called traffic shaping, which is reflected right here in various options. So there is shared and there is per IP address shapers that are the most common that are used. Now, shared shaping means that we can define a bandwidth limit within this policy that will be shared by all users, all IP addresses that are matched against this policy. And there is per IP address, which means that we can define the bandwidth limit for each IP through our firewall that matches this particular policy. So this provides a lot of advantages because what we can do is we can configure a policy allowing HTTP access and limiting it to only, let's say, 2 megabits per second. This means that we can allocate more bandwidth with other policies that may be more important. So HTTP web surfing may be slow, but that may be fine if it is not a business critical application. So what we would do is we will enable traffic shaping on a per IP basis for 1 megabits per second. So let's enable that here in this policy. We'll go to per IP shaper and we'll turn this on. Then let's create a new traffic shaping profile. So here the type will be per IP, which is selected. Let's enter a name for this new shaper. Something descriptive here is fine. And then once we do that, we're going to select the maximum bandwidth based on kilobits per second. So for 1 megabits per second, we would put in 1000 kilobits per second. Okay, we'll say okay. So now that is added. And that is all we need to do. So let's apply our changes. Okay, so now this outbound internet policy for our users and servers will be limited for 1 megabits per second for each IP session. Let's go back to our user computer. Here we are, and let's do another speed test and see what happens. Okay, so it's running kind of slow, but it will see that the numbers are showing around 1 megabits per second. So this will be the bandwidth rate that our users will have for accessing HTTP and HTTPS websites, including ping and DNS operations. Great. So that is how you can set up and use traffic shaping on a per IP address basis.